MeMonster.
Chapter 376. Get up, get up, get up! A cute voice tickled my ears. Maybe because I was still drowsy, it sounded like the chirping of a bird. Get up, get you up? My shoulders shook. Even hands this small had decent pushing power. Although the drowsiness quickly faded, I stayed still on purpose, careful not to let my mouth twitch with joy. I said get up! After shaking me for a long time, Evandel crossed her arms and glared at me with wide, determined eyes. Only then did I open my eyes. Seeing Evandel's pouting face, I smiled. Ah, you're up. Yep, I'm up. Stroking Evandel's hair, I turned to the window. A green hill came into view. Bathed in the cozy sunlight, a residential district stretched out before it. This was the Healing City, built by the Colored Paper Charity Foundation. 3 months ago, I came down from the Alps to this city and became an official pharmacist. Hajin, I'm hungry. I have to eat breakfast. Evandel's soft voice rose from my chest. Oh, you do? Let's go. Evandel was now old enough to use casual speech. Smiling, I got up from bed. When I arrived at the cafeteria with Evandel, Rachel and E. Buell were sitting side by side, staring at each other. Their expressions were stiff, as if they'd just finished a serious conversation, but they changed instantly when they saw us. Rachel greeted us first. You're up. Good job, Evandel. Evandel scurried up and sat between Rachel and E. Buell. I sat down on the opposite side, facing Evandel. Then I asked E. Buell and Rachel, what were you talking about? The two exchanged glances before each gave a short answer. We were talking about Evandel. It's been 3 months since I started staying here with Evandel and Rachel, after all. Ah! Rachel and E. Buell exchanged glances and let out tiny coughs. A strange air lingered between them. I didn't dig into it and reached for a loaf of bread from the table. Nibbling on the bread, I looked around at the people who made me feel like I was dreaming every day. They had stayed by my side for the past 3 months without losing their memories of me. Right, 3 months had already passed since I started living with them. Many things happened during this time. Unsurprisingly, Yu Yunha was behind most of them. After hearing that I had been deleted from this world, she misunderstood as always. What was it again? So that is your sacrifice? Anyway, she blurted out something incomprehensible and researched how to bring back my existence. At first it was cute. She started by gathering everyone who remembered me. Including herself, there were 9 people. Chae Na-yoon, Rachel, Evandel, Chok Jung-gyung, Jane, Droon, Jin Si-yeon, and E. Buell. Unfortunately, Kim Suho and Shin Jong-hak, who didn't know about the Kwang-ho incident and lacked a key link like Evandel, couldn't remember me. After that, Yu Yunha began to experiment. Before I could even think to stop her, she spent tens of billions of won. But there was no gain, and Yu Yunha ended up offering me Essential Pharmacy's CEO position. But since I didn't think I was worthy of that position, I settled for becoming a researcher. After all, my goal was to help as many people as possible. How is it, good? At that moment, E. Buell asked. Judging by her expectant eyes, she must have baked the bread. I nodded with a smile. Yeah, it's good. I'm glad. E. Buell sighed in relief. That was kind of cute. I stared at her for a moment before grabbing her hand under the table. Ah! An embarrassed sound escaped her lips. Kuhum! At that exact moment, Rachel let out a dry cough. E. Buell flinched and quickly let go, while I awkwardly scratched my head. Oh, how have been things, Rachel? She. I'm still seeking what I've always been seeking, the revival of England and the English Royal Court Guild. That's why I went to Koob all those years ago. Rachel smiled sweetly. Just as she had said, Rachel had lived her life for the revival of England and the English Royal Court Guild. And, as she had made great contributions during the Great Devil War, now should be the perfect time. Talks of a restoration are gaining traction in England. Of course, there are still several hurdles to get through. Lancaster is still alive, too. He is? For a moment I was dumbstruck. That guy was still alive? Yes, Rachel continued with a light smile. There are still many problems to resolve. In the past I was afraid, but now I'm okay. I've gotten stronger, thanks to Hajin and Evandale. That caught me off guard. I flinched slightly, while E. Buell's eyes turned sharper. She glanced at Rachel before looking back at me with puffed cheeks. Rachel added, "Thank you." She only said 2 words, but I could clearly see the meaning behind them. They were as transparent as Rachel's clear, ocean-colored eyes. Then she shrugged slightly. Thinking about it now, I don't think I've said thank you to Hajin that often. No, you don't really need to. I should be the one thanking you. I nodded in embarrassment and went back to eating my bread. Meanwhile, E. Buell spoke to Rachel. There will be a small meeting tonight. I looked up again. E. Buell seemed nervous as she glared at Rachel with a laser-like gaze. A faint chuckle escaped my mouth. Rachel, you're coming too, right? She sounded like she was issuing a challenge, but her intent was pure and non-malicious. Rachel knew this, so she smiled brightly and accepted. I stared at them for a moment before speaking. I'll buy the groceries. Then me too. I want to go too. Evandale smiled brightly and raised both hands. Rachel's eyes widened slightly. I don't mind, but Evandale, weren't you going to Disneyland today with your friends? Ah, you're right. Rachel reminded Evandale of her promise, and, like a true adult, she said, I guess we can buy groceries together next time. 5:30 p.m. As the sun began to set, I went outside to buy groceries from a supermarket at the city center. The streets were filled with young boys and girls. I walked listening to the children's cheerful laughter. Then I suddenly felt a gaze on me. It was fixated on me, coming from the Zelkova tree forest on the right side of the city. I became nervous. In my current state, I couldn't even defeat ordinary djinns. But soon, the mysterious person revealed herself and eased my worry. It was Che Na-yun. She stood at the border between the city road and the sky, looking down at me. After a long moment, she grinned confidently. Have you been well? She greeted me in her usual Che Na-yun fashion. I smiled back and nodded. Yeah, it's been a while. Che Na-yun hadn't shown herself since we last met at the cabin. She vanished after saying, I'm leaving. Yeah, it really has been a while. She crossed her arms. Wait, didn't you say you were going to conquer the Tower of Miracle? The Tower of Miracle.
This tower had left many wounds for both me and Che Na-yun. After Creator's sacred grace failed to conquer it, it became a forbidden topic. But when Essence of the Strait recently announced plans to officially conquer the tower, it was in the spotlight again. Yep, I plan on obliterating that tower. Che Na-yun raised her arm and flexed. I could practically see the confidence radiating from her. Yeah, if it's you, I'm sure it's possible. Oh, right. I'm about to go buy some groceries. Do you want to come too? I pointed at the supermarket in the distance. However, Che Na-yun shook her head. No, that's not what I came here to do. Then why are you here? Well, the campaign is 2 days away. I might die there, so I thought I'd tell you before I go. She brought up a frightening topic. When I furrowed my brows, Che Na-yun lowered her head. The glow of the setting sun burst out from behind her. She remained silent for a long time before muttering quietly, Thank you for everything. Huh? Thanks to you, I didn't have to see Oppa become a devil. I picked up the sword because of you, and you're also the reason I became this strong. Che Na-yun spoke as if reciting a line she'd practiced countless times. I could tell she was embarrassed. Her face was flushed red. And thanks to you, I regained my real grandfather. It'll take him 20 years to fully recover with that medicine. a pill that reduced the side effects of gifts. I created it using setting intervention, so reproducing it was extremely difficult. But Essential Pharmacy succeeded in making a tiny amount, and they were given to Heinkes and Che Ju-chol. It's true that Che Ju-chol regained a bit of his true emotions, but I didn't think that was what Che Na-yun meant. Just accept my gratitude, bastard. In a way, you're the reason I'm alive and standing here right now. A bitter smile appeared on my face. Looking back, it was thanks to Che Na-yun that I came to love this world. The one who showed me that this world wasn't just a novel was none other than her. I replied, "It's the same with me. The reason I'm here, it might be because of you." "Is it? That's good to hear." Che Na-yun walked up to me and stopped just a nose away. Looking straight into my eyes, she scratched her cheek before dropping her head. Once her gaze fell, it didn't come back up for a while. Then, after taking a few steps back, she raised her head as if she'd made a decision. Then she reached out her hand. I reflexively flinched, feeling her action was intimidating. "What?" "Here." When Che Na-yun opened her fist, a shining object dangled down. "Ah!" An exclamation escaped my mouth. It was the necklace I'd given Che Na-yun a long time ago. Che Na-yun stared at it with a bittersweet face. "You lent it to me, remember? Since the war is over, I should return it." "It's fine." I pushed her hand back. That was obvious. I made this necklace for her. "What? No, take it." I said it's fine. Just think of it as a gift from a friend. Che Na-yun paused. Standing still, she clenched her fists. Her face froze and her shoulders stiffened. She slicked her hair back roughly. You still think we can be friends?" Her trembling voice trailed off. As though she was angry, no, sad. She glared at me. "You should know. We can't be friends." I didn't say anything. There wasn't anything I could tell Che Na-yun right now. I could only wait for her choice that would come one day. "Do you know what kind of person you are to me?" I shook my head. Che Na-yun stared at me and made a dispirited smile. "Most likely, I'm going to keep hating you and loving you until the day I die." Her voice was as cold as ice and as deep as the ocean. It seemed to carry an incomprehensible darkness. "So, here." Without giving me a chance to think, she reached out her hand. "Take this, you bastard!" "If you say so." "Huh?" When I agreed, a shadow fell over Che Na-yun, but putting on a bright smile in the next instant, she playfully tapped my chest with the necklace. "Okay, take it." "I will, but not now. I'll take it back after you come back from the campaign." "What?" "You heard me. I'm talking about the Tower of Miracle. If you want to succeed, or at least increase your chances even a little, you'll need that necklace." Che Na-yun looked dumbfounded, and I laughed. In truth, the Tower of Miracle in my story was a MacGuffin. I didn't even write a rough outline about it. I only thought, what if this was the reward in my head? So it was extremely unlikely that the Tower's reward was what I imagined. But if the Tower's reward really was something similar to what I thought, and if Che Na-yun came to possess that miracle, would she be able to be happy again? Got it? Give it back to me after you conquer the Tower of Miracle. Don't refuse just for the sake of it. I pushed Che Na-yun's fist back. She furrowed her brows, then reluctantly put the necklace back in her pocket. So fussy. "Fine. It's true this necklace will help a lot." Grumbling, Che Na-yun turned around. The sun had finished setting before I noticed, and Che Na-yun was now dyed by the darkness of the Navy world. Tap. Having failed to achieve her initial objective, Che Na-yun spoke with her back to me. "I'm going. See you again." I replied as I placed her leaving figure in my memories. "Yeah, have a happy life." I didn't say see you again on purpose. "How was Disneyland? Fun?" "Oh, super fun." A rowdy noise woke me while I was having a cat nap on the balcony. "I saw a flying pumpkin carriage." Massaging my stiff neck, I looked at the living room through the window. I saw Evandel in a fairy uniform and a fairy headband. "But the haunted house was too scary."
Her cute appearance made me grin, and I was late to notice the person sitting next to me. I turned my head and saw Lee Byul, leaning on the balcony rail and staring at me. "Oh, you were watching me? You could have woken me up." I spoke as I rubbed my heavy eyelids. "Sorry." But Lee Byul suddenly apologized. Her face was dark too. I was confused, but then I realized why my eyelids felt so heavy. I was crying. I quickly wiped away the tears and spoke. "Oh, this. It's nothing. I must have had a bad dream." "Really, you don't have to be sorry about anything." Lee Byul grabbed my hand tightly. Her cold hand was shaking. I felt like I knew what she was thinking. After all, she was the only one who knew the truth about me. "Lee Byul, you can leave whenever you want. I understand." "No, I'm not going anywhere." I refused flatly and looked into her eyes. She was tearing up from guilt. This was why I couldn't say I can't go. For us, there was a big difference between not going and being unable to go. "I'm staying here because you said you won't forget me and because you came to find me first." Just as Lee Byul was about to say something, the balcony door suddenly shot open and Evandel ran in. "Hajin! Hajin! I'm back!" After proudly boasting to Rachel, it seemed I was next. I exchanged glances with Lee Byul before going out to the living room. There were many people gathered there. Rachel and Yu Hana, Drun and Yi Yuri, and even 8 of Evandel's friends. "Hello?" Yu Hana waved her hand. "Yo." I waved half-heartedly. Although Yu Hana was currently the most influential person on the planet, she wasn't a rare guest here. Even if she was busy, she came at least once a week. "Wait, Evandel? Huh? Go play with your friends on the 2nd floor. The adults have something to talk about." "Okay, can we all play games?" "Only for 2 hours." "Yay!" Evandel and her friends rushed up to the 2nd floor. I breathed out a sigh, then sat down at the long table in the living room. A plate of thick steak was steaming in front of me. Yu Hana asked as soon as Lee Byul and I sat down. "Nayun came and left immediately?" I nodded silently. "Naya Nim came?" Rachel, who was sitting next to Yu Hana, opened her eyes wide. "You should ask him. He should know better than me." Yu Hana pointed at me. "Yes, Nayun came and left. She talked about the tower campaign that's coming up, and didn't say much else." "Ah, right. The Tower of Miracle campaign is coming up. Nayun Nim must be really busy then." Rachel seemed a bit regretful. For the record, Eileen was elected as the new chairman of the Hero Association, and Che Nayun became the youngest Master Rank hero. As many high-rank heroes were promoted to Master Rank simultaneously, the honorable title went to Che Nayun, who was 4 days younger than Kim Suho. The reason Rachel started addressing her so respectfully was because of her position as the youngest Master Rank hero. Rachel, who was still a high-rank Grade 1 hero, World Rank 79, was rather serious about formalities. "There you go again with Nayun Nim. Just address her casually." Yu Hana shook her head, before quickly turning to me. "Here, take this." She suddenly took out a piece of paper. "What's this?" "You rested a lot already. It's time to start working." Yu Hana smiled mischievously. This smile of hers always made me anxious. Just what did she do this time? I swallowed hard and checked the paper. Press conference request form. What? A press conference? Yep. "The patent for the baldness cure you created passed. There's a reason you're called the miracle pharmacist right now. Everyone is talking about you, and you're practically the savior of all men between the ages of 20 and 90. But what's the press conference for?" "Well, who knows? Maybe your existence might revive in this world with this press conference." A chuckle escaped my mouth. For a mere baldness cure? But Yu Hana raised her eyebrows sharply. "No, I'm being serious. The baldness cure is a huge deal. It's something even magic has failed to solve.
If you hold a press conference, tens of thousands of people will swarm to it. Do you know how many people in the world are suffering from complete or partial baldness? In the West, over half. Geez, stop. A mere baldness cure won't... Mere? Right. Didn't you say you got partial balding from stress? What? I didn't. When did I say that? Then take this back. I gave the document back to Yu Hana. She pouted and put the request form away. At that moment, Yi Byul asked, "Anyways, you didn't come with Chek Chang-young?" It seemed Yi Byul was wistful for some familiar faces. No, they will become wanted targets again." Wanted targets? Yes. Yu Hana looked out the window and stared at the distant sky, then murmured, "Right about now, they should be in the underground prison, preparing to win Yu Jin-woon over." What? Huh? I widened my eyes. I wasn't the only one. Yi Byul and Rachel also made similar faces. Yu Hana waved her hand as though it was no big deal. "It's fine. This matter will be taken care of with the utmost secrecy. We finished discussing it with the association chairman. Yu Jin-woon received 15 years behind bars, but Chae Ju-hak got away scot-free. Maybe feeling bad about that, she agreed as soon as we made the offer. In truth, Jin Se-yeon was the one who made the offer first. She's completely become a member of the Chameleon Troupe now. Something about protecting justice from the shadows. Anyways, I'm happy. I don't want my father rotting away behind bars for 15 years. Yu Hana sliced her steak with her knife and fork. I'm sure he'll agree. Traveling the world was his second dream. Yi Byul and I stared at Yu Hana. She placed a small chunk of steak into her mouth. After gracefully chewing and swallowing, she wiped her mouth with a napkin and put the knife and fork down. Now then. Yu Hana interlocked her fingers and rested her chin on them. Then she made an evil, mischievous smile. That's what's going on with me. Rachel is probably going to say something about her guild or whatever. So, Yu Hana looked back and forth between me and Yi Byul. Why don't I hear your story? The room turned silent for a moment. Rachel and even Drun and Yi Yuri looked curious. I grabbed Yi Byul's hand. She seemed nervous. It was cold and stiff. Well, I thought about the people I abandoned, my friends and family who were my all before I came to this world. Although I might not be able to see them ever again, I didn't regret my decision. I missed them every day and felt saddened when I thought about my parents losing me forever, but I wouldn't have made this decision if I wasn't sure. Our story, I thought about Chae Na-yoon who was not here. I thought about Kim Soo-ho and Shin Jong-hak, who could not remember me. I thought about the things I could do in this world. Then I looked at the person who was very, very precious to me. We'll have to write it from now, until it becomes a happy ending. I spoke as I always did, and smiled. Yi Byul smiled back. Everyone in the room smiled. That was enough. Although I became a completely different person in a completely different world, although I lost everything from the previous world, the current me, no. We could confidently say that we are happy, since we can forever be with people who are precious to us.
Chapter 377. Who? Kim Soo-ho stood before the gateway of a temple and took a deep breath. The scene before him was imposing. A surrounding wall kept outsiders out, and marble columns stretched endlessly beyond the gateway. But what made Kim Soo-ho most nervous was the temple standing tall at the end of the stone road. Though it resembled a temple from ancient mythology, it lacked nothing in functionality. This oval structure, built with ice glass and shining with a splendid blue light, was known as the Temple of the Nine Heroes. The Heroes Association built it for the 9 heroes, the 9 stars, who made great contributions during the Great Change and the Devil War. Today, Kim Soo-ho had been invited to this incredible place. Since only members of the 9 stars and their successors could enter, the invitation's meaning was clear. How does it feel to be a successor? The person accompanying Kim Soo-ho asked. With a slightly nervous expression, Kim Soo-ho turned to the side. Yoon Sang-ah was smiling, arms crossed. Well, I'm not sure. I feel like there are a lot of things left to do. Looking at the Temple of the Nine Heroes, Kim Soo-ho thought about Jin Sa-hyuk, who had returned to Akatrina without a word. The ill-fated relationship that extended to his previous world had disappeared along with her. However, that didn't mean Kim Soo-ho could just forget about her or pretend he didn't remember Akatrina. His task had yet to disappear. The path of guardianship, laid out by his name Soo-ho, was still awaiting him. I see. Not knowing this, Yoon Sang-ah nodded with a hint of bitterness. Becoming a member of the Nine Stars meant Kim Soo-ho could no longer belong to any guild. She decided to accept this. It seemed it would take Kim Soo-ho at least 10 years until his ascension was finalized, and she knew he was not a hero who could be fenced in by a guild. Soo-ho, over there! There are 3 more people coming. Yoon Sang-ah pointed at the path they had just walked and laughed. Kim Soo-ho turned and saw 3 people approaching. All had less than average frames, a magician with a cape engraved with 9 stars, the association chairman in a black suit, and Evandel with her magician's wand and hat. All 3 were short. Yeah, I see them, Kim Soo-ho said with a smile. At the moment, only Heinkes and OJ Jin were confirmed members of the 9 Stars. 4, including Shin Myung-chal, were confirmed dead. The 3 remaining members were alive but in hiding, having lost their powers. Once treatment for the side effects of gifts was developed, they would be reinstated. Thus, there were 4 empty seats for the 9 Stars, and the current members had the duty to fill them. As honorary positions with authority, the 9 Stars would disappear as a legend if all 9 died. But the Heroes Association had made the 9 Stars an official institution, so empty seats had to be filled. The 9 Stars checked the association remains conscious of the 9 Stars, and the Temple of Justice supervised the association. The Temple of Justice and Eileen decentralized the association's power to prevent corruption. You're already here, said the 9-star magician, Ah Hae-in, approaching Kim Soo-ho. Hello, I hope you've been well. We heard the news. Congratulations. Kim Soo-ho and Yoon Sang-ah greeted Ah Hae-in courteously. Ah Hae-in had already been nominated as a member of the 9 Stars, not just a successor, due to OJ Jin's recommendation and her recapture of all Europe. The official announcement would be made next week. Yes, I'm sure you 2 know Eileen. This here is Evandel. Ah Hae-in glanced at Evandel and introduced her. Kim Soo-ho knelt to meet Evandel's eyes, who was tightly grabbing Ah Hae-in's hand. Hey, Evandel. We've seen each other before. Do you remember me? Kim Soo-ho greeted her first. However, Evandel was half hidden behind Ah Hae-in and remained wary. In truth, Evandel slightly hated Kim Soo-ho for forgetting Kim Hajin. Ah Hae-in avoided being hated by pretending to remember Kim Hajin. Kim Soo-ho asked confused, Evandel? Who are you? It's me, Kim Soo-ho.
I don't remember you. We met before, remember? I don't know. Evandel snorted and turned away, but Kim Soo-ho found it adorable. Yoon Sang-ah spoke up. Haha, welcome, Evandel. Who are you? But Yoon Sang-ah was in the same position. You don't know me? Aren't you still friends with Hajin? You don't remember Hajin either? I know Hajin. We're really close. Evandel hesitated, torn between loyalty to Kim Hajin and her friendship with Hajin. Wait, Sung-ah, why are you here? Aileen hopped over and asked, looking between Yoon Sung-ah and Kim Soo-ho, eyebrows raised teasingly. What do you mean, why? I'm here to accompany him. Oh, just that? I don't think so. Well, you're wrong, Yoon Sung-ah shot back. Well, you can go back now. Only the chosen can enter from here. Aileen placed her hand on the temple's wall. It's me, Aileen. I brought the kids, so let me in. Beep! An out-of-place sound rang out, and the gateway opened. Under the marble roof and pillars, a blue road leading to the temple appeared.
You two can follow me. The rest can wait outside or go back. Ah-Hae-in led the 9 stars candidates in, and Kim Soo-ho and Evandel said goodbye to the others. We'll be back soon. We'll be back soon. Yoon Sung-ah and Aileen waved and sent them off. See you later. Good luck on your evaluation. Tap, tap. Less than a few steps in, the gateway closed. Yoon Sung-ah stared at the closed gateway with a tinge of regret, then suddenly asked Aileen, "Oh right, wasn't there another candidate?" "Yep, but she's out on a campaign." "Ah, right. Na-yoon said she's going on the Cower of Miracle campaign." While a certain someone was too busy chasing after a younger guy, she was putting in a lot of effort. Thanks to that, she's doing fantastic. Unsurprisingly, the third candidate was Chai Na-yoon. Yoon Sung-ah recalled Chai Na-yoon, who should be fighting within the Tower of Miracle, and felt a mix of bitterness, jealousy, and pride. After all, it was Creator Sacred Grace who initially obtained the right to conquer the Tower of Miracle. "Anyways, Uni, I'm surprised you're still working as the chairman. I thought you'd quit after a few days." Yoon Sung-ah changed the subject. Aileen furrowed her brows. "What? I knew I would do a good job from the beginning." "Hey, come on. I thought you'd complain about it nonstop." "Well, I guess it's good that you're doing a good job. Good luck at it, too." Udu. Aileen grit her teeth. But it was clear the loser would be the first to get angry. "Yeah, good luck to you too, Sung-ah, though you'll be second place for the next 1,000 years. Oh, maybe that won't last long either. I heard the English Royal Court Guild is popping up." Aileen sniggered. Yoon Sung-ah smiled on the outside and smacked Eileen's shoulder. "Ow! What'd you do that for?" "Because it's funny. That was a good joke. 2 thumbs up for you."
Aileen stood silently for a moment, then laughed and pushed Yoon Sung-ah with a pang. How funny! Yoon Sung-ah kept laughing and pressed down on Eileen's head. Instantly, Eileen's smile disappeared. "Hey, you're going too far. I'm your uni. What do you mean? It's funny, isn't it?" Aileen turned serious and tried to push Yoon Sung-ah's hand off, but Yoon Sung-ah didn't let go. "Hey, you, let go! Ugh, you..." After struggling in vain, Aileen finally roused her magic power, and Yoon Sung-ah countered with key reinforcement. "Uni, why are you suddenly using magic power? You asked for it." "What? You're the one who provoked me first?" Childish bickering broke out in front of the solemn temple. Meanwhile, Yu Yen-ha was engrossed in research. Of course, it was about Kim Hajin. This research took place only in her mind and was really a daydream. After thinking for a long time, she finally opened her eyes and muttered quietly, "Baal's last resort was the elimination of existence." She had repeated these thoughts for months and always reached the same conclusion. In the moment of annihilation, Baal had erased Kim Ha-jin's existence from this world. Since Chai Na-yoon reported that Kim Ha-jin's final attack dealt irrecoverable damage to Baal, it made sense that Baal would target Kim Ha-jin. Yoon Yen-ha let out a sigh. Was it because Kim Ha-jin was close to her? Or was there another reason she didn't know? For some reason, Yoon Yen-ha couldn't get Kim Ha-jin off her mind. A foolish man who always sacrificed himself until he lost everything. That was Kim Ha-jin in her eyes. Seeing him laugh after all this, her heart ached. Frustrated, Yoon Yen-ha stood and walked out to the balcony. She enjoyed standing there as it showed a full view of Seoul. Looking down, she felt admiration and awe, not at the landscape, but at herself for all her accomplishments. Some said that obtaining everything left one with a sense of emptiness, but Yoon Yen-ha disagreed. She saw it as an excuse by those who couldn't achieve their goals. Yoon Yen-ha had walked a straight road of ambition and arrived at what many would call the summit. Yet, she was still full of spirit.
She hoped to achieve even greater things, knowing instinctively that bigger challenges awaited her. "I'm going to overcome them all," Yoon Yen-ha muttered quietly. But who was she talking to? Her father? Shin Jong-hak, whom she liked for a long time and eventually gave up? Or was it that person? At that moment, a voice came from her wrist. "Vice Leader, the regular report is here." Jinsei-chan contacted her with a scheduled report. She opened it while leaning against the balcony guardrail. The first matter was about Shin Jong-hak. Jong-hak is still in Africa? Yes, he is planning a redevelopment mission with Orden. Orden and Shin Jong-hak, Yoon Yen-ha didn't know how these two came to work together. But Orden left for Russia after forming a pact with the association, and Shin Jong-hak also traveled there for volunteer work. I'm sure Jong-hak will be fine on his own. We'll have to ask him about Orden's abilities later. The next matter is regarding commerce with Krevan. This one is important. Yoon Yen-ha had negotiated with Krevan using the dimensional entropy to establish a trading post that would open once a month. This was a huge event, marking a new era for both Essence of the Strait and Earth. Yu Yen-ha discussed the matter with Jinsei-chan until Seoul's scenery was dyed by night. We will discuss the rest during the next formal meeting. Yes, understood. Even so, they couldn't reach a conclusion. Yu Yen-ha hung up and was surprised to see the sun had fully set. Time flies. She suddenly felt emotional. The more time passed, the less time she had to think about people. Of course, there were still people she never forgot. Oh, right! Suddenly, remembering something, Yu Yen-ha looked at her smartwatch. She recalled the long message saved in it, the message she had written to Kim Hajin. It was shocking enough to awaken her memories. Every time she was still dumbfounded that she ever wrote such a message. Yu Yen-ha shook her head and went back to staring at Seoul's scenery. After viewing the city and Han River for a while, she realized there was no one in Seoul she wanted. Sechan-shi? Yoon Yen-ha turned on her smartwatch again and messaged Si Jian-shan. "Empty my schedule next week, same time." "Got it. It is for that place, correct?" "Yes." She didn't know why, but seeing the people there melted her fatigue and recharged her energy. And it wasn't just him. The others there helped her motivate her to work harder. In a way, they were like a fatigue recovery potion. Yu Yen-ha let out a pleased breath and sank into a rocking chair on the balcony. Whoosh! A fresh breeze blew, brushing past the smile on her face. Within this cool night breeze, Yu Yen-ha fell into a light sleep. Africa's sun rose to the middle of the sky. Facing beams of light stronger than anywhere else, Shin Jong-hak and the other members of the pioneering crew wore magic-imbued items. Thanks to air-conditioned turbans and capes, they could work comfortably. But even the best equipment had limits. A desert monster's hyperthermic attack caused the redevelopment plans to pause, and the pioneering crew returned to their Oasis base camp before noon. "Are you tired?" Orden approached Shin Jong-hak, who was soaking his head in the Oasis. Shin Jong-hak raised his head slightly. "It's hot." For humans, yes. Orden had left Russia and found a place here. He had already formed a secret pact with the association, which showed both interest and wariness towards him. As leader of the pioneering crew, Shin Jong-hak founded a city in Africa. After driving away all the monsters in this oasis, he had recovered the monster city Orden founded in the past, though it was hard to call it a city, since it had been destroyed by African monsters. Things will get better soon, once we recover the capital. Though it will still be hot, this absurd heat should disappear. "You think this land belongs to you?" Shin Jong-hak glanced at Orden. Orden shrugged. "I can't help it. There are many beastmen here, and without me, Africa will be uninhabitable for humans." Beastmen. The association had replaced the term humanoid monster with beastmen. The survivors were those fused with animals like cats, pigs, dogs, cows, and others. Shin Jong-hak buried his face in the water one last time before standing tall. You think humans can live in Africa? That's right. I plan to create a country where humans and beastmen can live in harmony. That's a nice dream. Unfortunately, we live in a democratic world. Monarchy won't be accepted these days. Recently, the people of England have wanted to give the authority of the Prime Minister to the royal family. Orden was interested in world news. Shin Jong-hak scratched his head, unsure if that was true.
Orden continued, "If someone can protect his citizens and make them happy, a monarchy won't be a problem. And I want to make everyone happy, not just beastmen. I will stop any monsters who try to advance to Western Europe and the Middle East every year. This is part of my agreement with the association." Shin Jong-hak didn't know much about current affairs or politics, so he said nothing. Orden also fell silent, but then asked something he'd been curious about. "I have one question. Where did that woman go?" "Woman? Ah, you mean Jin Sa-hyuk?" "Yes, that was her name." The only woman related to Orden was Jin Sa-hyuk. Shin Jong-hak smirked. Kim Soo-ho said she returned to her home country. "I see. Why do you ask? Do you have a crush on her?" "I do not understand such a feeling yet." Orden smiled faintly and shook his head. "I am simply curious about what someone who believes herself to be a king is doing." "I see." Shin Jong-hak was also curious. From what Kim Soo-ho told him, Jin Sa-hyuk was someone from another world who had reincarnated on Earth, and she had apparently returned to her homeworld. No one knew if she was because she wanted to be a king or because she grew tired of Earth. "I'm sure she's doing fine being a king. Whoosh! A beam of light shot up in the distant sky, cutting off Shin Jong-hak. He turned his gaze to the Atlantic sky. Strange beams of light undulated like an aurora. "Looks like they succeeded," Orden said. Shin Jong-hak, standing in a daze, muttered, "The Tower of Miracle." He dusted off his cape and got up. Orden asked, "Where are you going?" "Hyenas will flock to that place soon." A successful tower campaign was always followed by an assault by Jinns. It was almost guaranteed. The best-case scenario for the Jinns was stealing the reward. But even if they couldn't, it was a great opportunity to kill exhausted heroes. It shouldn't be any different this time. "I'll have to protect them just in case." Shin Jong-hak picked up his spear and stood up. A teleportation portal was set up nearby. He should be able to get there in 2 hours. Wait, let me go too!" A high-pitched voice rang out. Shin Jong-hak turned around. The pioneering crew's sole supporter, Yi Ji-yoon, was running over. Let me go too! Take me with you!" "You?" Shin Jong-hak's eyes narrowed. Yi Ji-yoon smiled brightly and nodded. "Yes! A supporter has got to follow where his boss is going. It's been a while since I've been in Seoul, too. I want to go with you." "Boss?" Yi Ji-yoon's face reddened as she muttered the last word. Shin Jong-hak stared at her. I can't. That's fine, too." Yi Ji-yoon couldn't meet his gaze and dropped her head. Shin Jong-hak wasn't an idiot. He knew what emotion was behind her words. He opened his mouth. "Do what you want." Really? Thank you." Shin Jong-hak turned back coldly, and Yi Ji-yoon chased after him as if he were the coolest person in the world. Orden watched Shin Jong-hak and Yi Ji-yoon with interest, then muttered with a smirk. "What a complex emotion." He slowly followed them. The pioneering crew had some free time, so going there didn't seem to be a problem. "I will go too." A conquered tower and interesting human emotions, Orden's curiosity had grown too big to miss out on. "Do what you want." Hearing his apathic tone, Orden smiled. Kurukuru approached Orden as he walked forward. As a loyal servant ready to follow any order, he showed up once Orden showed signs of leaving. "Yes, Kurukuru." Orden, who once called himself the Monster King, realized something. That origin was meaningless in life. Just as the journey was more important than the destination, the direction was more important than the origin. Follow me. We are going on a small journey. As such, Orden decided to focus on the question of what life he should lead rather than how his life came to be. This was a trivial but huge change in Orden's heart.
Chapter 378. Pieces of rock crumbled down onto Che Nayun's head. Like water drops gently falling, they only tickled her cheeks. Naturally, she was shaken awake. Che Nayun twisted her body side to side, then groaned as she opened her mouth. Ugh! Ugh! She felt sore all over. Her limbs and even her internal organs ached. Thankfully, none of her injuries were lethal or untreatable. Ugh! She coughed, clutching her side as a sharp pain flared up. Along with the crumbs of rock, blood spurted from her mouth. She relaxed her exhausted body and looked around at the aftermath of the event that had just unfolded. While the team was passing through the final hurdle, the floor had suddenly collapsed. Che Nayun managed to push the others away, saving them from the trap. But she herself had failed to avoid it. Che Nayun wiped the blood from her mouth and straightened her posture. Then she checked her smartwatch. She had received countless messages from her comrades. "Are you okay, miss? We won the final battle, so please wait, we will come rescue you right away." Che Nayun was about to respond, but stopped and put down her smartwatch. Suddenly, she felt tired. The tower, the rewards, life, everything. In a way, she had lost her motivation. She had been eager and full of passion when she first entered the Tower of Miracle, thinking she could forget about complicated matters like Kim Hajin, Cheju Chol, and Che Jin Yun. But now, she felt nothing. Although the team was moments away from conquering the tower, she wasn't happy. She felt empty. She even thought it might be better to just die like this. Che Nayun slouched her shoulders. Her body was cold. She rummaged through her pockets, but there was nothing to chew or smoke, and her body began to heal her injuries on its own. With her body, she couldn't even die easily. Tss. As she clicked her tongue, she caught sight of something in the rubble. It was a faint sparkle at first, something shining within the mountain of rocks. It was enough to provoke mild curiosity. What's that? Che Nayun staggered up and slowly approached the light. The silvery cluster became clearer as she drew near, almost as if it was calling her. Soon, she arrived at the source. She narrowed her eyes and looked into the rubble. What? The thing shining was a small rock buried among gray stones. Without much thought, Che Nayun reached out and picked it up. Then, strange characters appeared before her. Miracle Stone. Pinnacle Grade Miracle. One of the last rewards of the Tower of Miracle. When used, the user will experience regression, a pinnacle grade miracle. The world before regressing and the world after regressing are separate and will not affect each other in any way. Che Nayun stepped back in shock. Her trembling hands dropped the stone, which fell to the floor. Kung. The stone made a strange reverberation, but the window in front of Che Nayun did not disappear. When used, the user will experience regression, a pinnacle-grade miracle. Che Nayun stared blankly at the sentence. She rubbed her eyes repeatedly, thinking it was only a matter of time before something so absurd disappeared. When used, the user will experience regression, a pinnacle-grade miracle. However, the message remained. In fact, it shone even brighter, enticing her. Gulp. Che Nayun swallowed hard, but soon shook her head. Even if this wasn't a dream and really was a reward from the Tower of Miracle, the tale of Shin Myung Chol and the regression stone was a well-known bedtime story by now. As there was a side effect to a miracle on the level of going back in time, it wasn't something to be done lightly. But her body didn't follow her mind. It would be problematic if this stone fell into someone else's hands. Justifying herself, Che Nayun picked up the miracle stone. The mystical power within the stone circulated in her palm, creating a small gust of wind. When used, the user will experience regression, a pinnacle-grade miracle. Che Nayun tightened her grip on the stone. Doing so, she was naturally reminded of a certain someone. Perhaps the miracle stone was leading her thoughts in that direction. In any case, she remembered her relationship with Kim Hajin, which had been twisted from the very beginning. Che Nayun hated Kim Hajin, yet loved him at the same time. Both her love and her hatred were eternally irreversible. However, a miracle that could overturn this irreversible problem had just appeared. Che Nayun stared at the miracle stone dazed. She pondered. If she had a better ending, would she have the right to choose it? If she did, would that really be the better ending? Or was she simply running away from reality? Che Nayun didn't ponder long. The answer was clear, so she only shook her head. After all you've been through? It was true that this item was hard to pass by, but it would also bring disaster elsewhere, without a doubt. And so, just as Che Nayun was about to put the miracle stone away, as Baal has been annihilated, Baal will not exist in the world after the regression. Che Nayun froze. She looked at the newly created message. The bright light illuminating the message flowed into her eyes. This cluster of light became a message that whispered into her ears. The message settled all her worries. The problem between Che Nayun and Kim Hajin wasn't Kim Hajin killing Che Jinyun. It wasn't their meeting either. It was all because of a devil known as Baal. Without Baal, Che Jinyun wouldn't have needed to die, and Che Nayun and Kim Hajin wouldn't have had any reason to fight. Wing. At that moment, her smartwatch vibrated. Startled, Che Nayun looked back and forth between the miracle stone and the smartwatch. Not long after, she could feel the presence of her teammates nearby. With "goom," the sound of the tower's shell collapsing rang out. The tower transformed into magic power and rose to the sky. This marked a successful tower campaign. Thus, Che Nayun was left with not much time to decide. She looked at the miracle stone in her hands. Have a happy life. Suddenly, Kim Hajin's voice lingered in her ears. Was it yesterday or the day before? He had said these words with sincerity. Che Nayun stared at Kim Hajin's face reflected on the surface of the miracle stone. She thought about the happiness this stone could bring her. A bright voice and a bright face popped up inside her heart. The miracle stone and regression. This was perhaps her only chance to reach a happy ending. But in another way, it could be seen as a way of escaping. This item brought a dangerous temptation. She looked at it for a long time. The moment Che Nayun discovered the miracle stone, Bel opened his eyes. He could sense that the miracle assigned by Baal had been found. Looks like the regression stone has been found. Bel spoke to the existence fused within him. But no answer came, no matter how long he waited.
Only after a long time did something stir inside him and eke out a voice. I know. It was Baal's voice. Bel smiled faintly. Currently, Baal had been reduced to the soul of an ordinary human. His true self had been annihilated, with Bel having absorbed a piece of Baal's consciousness. In the first place, Baal was a soul that could not be extinguished easily. He was a bomb that could destroy a world if he exploded. As such, Bel voluntarily took on the role of keeping Baal's soul, and to Baal this was the greatest punishment. Do you think that child will go back in time? A smile spread across Bel's face. He asked out of pure curiosity. Baal was interested in the human known as Che Nayun. However, Baal replied simply, That would depend on her feelings towards that gar. It sounded as though he knew everything that was about to occur, yet he seemed to be looking forward to the future. Belle smiled and asked, then want to make a bet? I'll bet 5 years that she won't use it. Then I will bet that she does. This was a bet using their lifespan as chips. Although Baal had lost his body and his authorities, it was easy for him to make one person live for eternity. As such, Belle wanted to curse Baal, who dared to use him, with the curse of immortality. Of course, Belle did not want this, and after much debate, they began a bet using the base 100 years of a human's life as chips. There's no way she'll do it. Think about it. Shin Myung-cho went back in time, making you come to Earth. Chae Ne-yoon is a good kid. She won't do it because of how eerie it is. Hearing this, Baal fell silent. Then soon Belle felt a portion of the demonic energy in his chest disappear. Belle's face stiffened. Wait, that's cheating. What did you do? Nothing. Nothing, my ass! Aha! You sent a message, didn't you? A message crossing dimensions. As Baal was the one who created the regression stone, it was no surprise he could send a message to whoever possessed it. You did, didn't you? When Belle shouted, Baal smiled calmly. Baal had used a dubious method, but Belle saw him smile for a long while. Because of this, Belle couldn't get angry and only furrowed his brows. Geez. The bet still stands. Sure, I still bet on the same thing. 5 years that she won't use it. I'll bet 10 years that she does. Did you forget? 5 years is the maximum. Belle smirked and leaned against the carriage wall. It was then. Your Highness, please prepare for the coronation. His servant's voice rang out from outside the carriage. Belle replied, yes, rather imposingly, before looking at the mirror in the corner of the carriage. The one reflected inside the mirror wasn't Baal, but Belle. Belle looked at the mirror and asked Baal, what is your plan from now on? If possible, I want to kill the bastard who became the new god, but at my state, that is a faraway dream. Can't you tell your friends? Laraj and Vasigo are still fighting on Earth. Those two have already been corrupted by Earth. They will enjoy living as mortals to their heart's content before returning to the transcendent realm. Strange devils, aren't they? Strange, most devils were angels at birth. Most of them interact with humans if they want to, and play with humans if they want to. Baal grumbled unhappily. Then why are you like this? I was created to be defiant. Shouldn't you know this too? Baal was created from Kim Hajin's setting. He was saying Kim Hajin had made him this way. In a way, it was a bit of a cruel fate. Touché. Belle shrugged. King Terhern's coronation will now begin. As just he was feeling a bit awkward, a loud shout rang out. Sss. The carriage door opened from both sides. Beyond a brilliant red curtain, a royal road made of the highest quality carpet spread out before him. It was the pathway to his throne. Hundreds of servants stood in line beside the red road, and tens of thousands of citizens looked up at him from below. Belle slowly raised his head and looked up at the throne, placed close to the sun in a spot that could look down on all others. Arnheim's glorious ruler, King Terhern! A fierce shout resounded. Belle stepped out of the carriage. With long, steady steps, he walked up the stairs of the royal road. O King, your Majesty Terhern, Lord Savior who has overcome calamity and returned. Hundreds of thousands celebrated the coronation with loud cheers piercing the sky. As king, Belle kept their voices in mind, so that he wouldn't betray them and so that he wouldn't make the same mistake again. Terhern, is that a new name? It's much better than Bel. Baal muttered from inside his heart. Bel fixed his gaze at the throne and murmured calmly, "Look forward to it. A mortal life is far more beautiful and fulfilling than you think." Everything was destroyed in this world. Standing on the black barren land, Jin Sayuk looked around. There was no sign of life anywhere. Grass had become ash and scattered away, and the earth barely breathed after being devoured by demonic energy. The trees were dyed a reddish brown, and the sky was stained purple. Tss, tss. Jin Sayuk stared at the desolate landscape in silence. 3 months had already passed since she arrived here. Her home was gone. Not even a tiny piece remained. She recalled Earth as she stood in her broken home world, lying on the grass and looking up at the blue sky, hovering amidst the clouds looking down at the ground. Although she denied it at the time, thinking about it now, the landscape she enjoyed flashed before her eyes. Kim Hajin, or Kin Spring, the man who carried all the mysteries of this world. Jin Sayuk closed her eyes and sighed. Should I have seen him before I left? Should I have asked him for advice? Whew! Soon Jin Sayuk shook her head. She was determined to live a lonely life. A king must not show weakness and must live and die with her country. If this world died, then she would happily die with it. It's a lot worse than I thought. Shimurin's voice rang out. Jin Sayuk looked up at her slightly. With a flick of her hand, she drove the demonic energy away. Jin Sayuk spoke. You can go back if it's too hard. You've already been here 3 months. Shimurin glanced at Jin Sayuk surprised, then grinned and shook her head. It's fine. The more difficult a problem is, the more stubborn I get. Don't regret it later. Jin Sayuk clutched her cape, the cape of Alexander the Great she got from Kim Hajin. So, what's your plan? Aren't we in Plarian's territory like you wanted? It's simple. Akratrina has fully undergone demon realm transformation, so it's obvious what Jin Sayuk had to do. Find people. From what she saw on Earth, demon realm transformation was limited to the surface. If people survived, they should be living deep underground. I will find my citizens and go underground.
Jin Sayuk carried everything she brought from Earth and moved forward. But despite her confident declaration, her steps had no destination or goal. The intuition she always believed in was quiet today. Could it be that even her intuition did not trust her? Or was there no one left alive in this world? Jin Sayuk walked until her lungs were scalded by demonic energy. She didn't use ki reinforcement or try to purify the demonic energy. As Shimurin's magic was limited, Jin Sayuk fell to her knees after 6 hours of walking. Rustle, rustle. Suddenly, something inside her cape rubbed against it. Jin Sayuk purified the demonic energy within her through ki circulation as she put her hand in her pocket. However, she couldn't grab anything. Thinking it might be the back pocket, she rummaged through that one too. But as expected, there was nothing. No, there was something. It was a folded piece of paper. Jin Sayuk placed the paper on her palm. What is this? Why is it here? Although she didn't know at first, she remembered as soon as she saw the paper. This was the infinite communication letter she had used to communicate with Kim Hajin back when they worked together. With this, she could communicate with Kim Hajin. Ha! Jin Sayuk smiled as she looked down at the letter. An unknown emotion welled up, but she soon fixed her resolve. Can you see this? She wrote 4 words with her magic power. Why am I doing something so useless? She regretted it immediately, but she wasn't given time to blame herself. Shoo! A screech rang out.
The world shook again. Jin Sehyuk and Shima-Ren turned toward the sound. A dinosaur-like monster stood there. Its huge legs boasted terrifying muscles, and its body was the size of a castle, bigger than any monster she had seen on Earth. Jin Sehyuk put her bags down and roused her magic power. "What a tough world," Shima-Ren muttered. "But that's what makes it more exciting," Jin Sehyuk answered, stretching her body. The monster had already spotted them and was preparing to charge. "Then let's go." The moment Jin Sehyuk created hundreds of weapons with her magic power, tiny words began to appear on the communication letter. Words continued writing themselves for a long time, but Jin Sehyuk didn't have time to look at them. The monster was rushing toward them. "I see it. Jin Sehyuk, right? What are you up to, right?" However, she could hear the soft sounds of words being scribbled on the paper. It was clear proof that the connection to Earth remained. Shoo! The monster charged, swinging its head, but Jin Sehyuk wasn't afraid. All her worries and troubles had been resolved. As such, she could smile even in the face of this destructive monster, running toward her, splitting the earth. Jin Sehyuk felt like she could find her people here, that she could find traces of fire of footsteps left behind by them, and with them she felt like she could rebuild Plerion. This hope had all been rekindled by the letter connected to Kim Hajin. Shoo! The monster's body and Jin Sehyuk's magic power collided. Using reality manipulation, she temporarily expelled the surrounding demonic energy and turned the sky blue. And under the sky that had returned to its past color, Jin Sehyuk shouted, standing tall, "I've returned!" Her voice was clearer and brighter than ever before.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like the video. Have a suggestion? Let me know in the comments.